Hi everybody, it is the 17th of February 2023 and update 1.20 for DayZ has caused us some problems, hasn't it, on community servers. You may well have seen my loot stacking problem video. What's been happening is that if you use custom object spawners in your CFG gameplay.json, if that object spawner includes any loot, so things apart from buildings and tents, that loot has been multiplying on server restarts and not despawning. And I know lots of you guys out there create shops and things that have hundreds of items of loot, so quickly you've got thousands of items of loot, which leads to players, consoles and PCs crashing and servers being unplayable. Now, Bohemian Interactive are working on the solution right now, and it's probably going to come in a hotfix after the weekend, probably something like starting on the 19th of February. But I've got a horrible feeling that hotfix is probably going to solve the problem of the loot multiplying, but they're probably going to recommend a hard wipe, a reinstall to get rid of the loot. But there is another way. Now this is still quite a nuclear option, because what this option does is it gets rid of all the loot, all the loot that's been duping itself, but it gets rid of all the loot in the entire server, and it gets rid of all of the buildings as well. The only thing it doesn't really touch, as far as I'm aware, are vehicles and what the player has on them or in their hands. So as you can see in this screenshot of the videos, this is my training area, and all this loot here you see was duping itself to mad. So it looks like there's only one backpack there, but there was actually 3 or 4. So this is the area now where I've got rid of everything. As you can see, the JSON, I stopped referring to the JSON. I mean, the main thing is don't have JSONs in your CFG spawnable types at the moment. Disable them. But as you see, all the loot has now gone. It was all floating in the air before. But as I say, this is a nuclear option. As you see, my player still got his stuff as well. This is a nuclear option, and what you'll have to do is you'll have to recommend to the players on your server, look, spawn in if you can, log in, pick up everything you can that's important to you in your base or in your stashes, and then log off again. And then we're just going to delete everything, and at least then all the duplicate stuff will be gone, and your players will at least have the stuff they've got on them, so it's not an ideal situation, but it's better than doing a complete wipe, if you ask me. Okay, so what do? Well, this is all inspired by and comes from the amazing Balshad's Discord. I'll put a link to it in the description below the video. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be turning loot off, or the ability to spawn loot in our economy.xml. And then the server's going to save that, and then we're going to turn it back. So what I'll do is I will show you on my local server setup. So this is my local server, so the file structure will be similar to that of your remote community server, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute as well. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to go into your MP missions on your server. You're going to choose what type of server it is, if it's Chernarus or if it's Enoch, if it's a Livonia one. You're going to go into it, you're going to go into the DB directory. You're going to be familiar with all this. And the one we want is is it the economy one? Yeah, it's the economy one, economy.xml, and it's this top line here that we want to do. And what we're going to do is we're going to change dynamic load to 0. Okay, and then you're going to save that on your server, and then you're going to restart the server. And what that will then do is it will mean that none of the loot will spawn in. Remember, none of it. It's not just the dupe stuff. No loot will spawn in, no buildings will spawn in that people will have made. Once the server's done that, it will save in that situation as well. So run it for a few minutes, jump on the server and run around a bit. Then jump off the server, and then you're going to change this back to 1 again. You're going to save that, and you're going to restart the server. And what you should then find is all of the loot then starts to respawn in as it should do, but all that duplicated loot will have gone. as well as people's bases, but at least they will have been able to hang on to everything they've got in their hands. So again, I can't really stress this enough. You must tell the players on your server that they need to log on and they need to go to their bases if they can, because they might not be able to, and pick up everything that's important to them, and then log off. And then when they spawn back in, all their buildings will be gone that they've made, but at least they'll have the stuff in their hands. So how do you do this on a remote server? So no Trado server. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to your web interface, and you're going to go to the file browser, and you're going to go to the missions folder, PS missions or XB missions, depending if it's Xbox or PlayStation, and then go into DayZoffline.Chernarus Plus or DayZoffline.Enoch if it's a Livonia server. You're going to click into there. You're going to go into the DB folder, and then you're going to open up the economy.xml, and there it is. There's that top line there. So we're going to change load to 0. And we're going to save that down the bottom, and then you're going to restart your server. Then you're going to log in and you're going to run around for a bit, and then you're going to log off, and then you're going to change this back to 1, and you're going to save that, and then you're going to restart your server. Then you're going to jump in and you're just going to have a look around and just make sure that loot, that duplicated loot, has gone. Again, I'll say it again, this is a nuclear option. Now it could be that between now and next week, when the hotfix gets pushed for this, that Bohemia Interactive and the DayZ Devs come up with a better way of doing this, which means that they'll be able to get rid of the duplicated loot without having to go to this nuclear option. Maybe. But if you want your server to be, if you've got a server that right now is blue screening your players, so it's completely unplayable anyway, and you want an option to make it playable, at least with this option, players are going to have the stuff that they've got in their inventory. So it's not ideal, but it's better than a complete reinstall, if you ask me anyway. And then you can crack on from there. So there we go. So, use this method at your own kind of expense, or, have a hard think about it and talk about it to your people, your servers, and maybe, say to them, what do you want us to do? Do you want us to do this now, so at least you can play on the server over the weekend, but you're going to have to rebuild all your bases and stuff like that? Or do you want us to wait until next week to see what Bohemia Interactive and the DayZ Devs come up with that may well solve this situation, but may well just lead to a hard wipe and a reinstall anyway? So there we go. I know it's not an ideal situation, but it's kind of the best that I think we've got right now. If you want to play on your server over the weekend, if things like if your server is not working at all and it's blue screen people, interesting vehicles don't go. But again, what you could do with the vehicles, you just run up to them and you could destroy them, can't you? With hit them with hammers or shoot them with bullets, that sort of stuff, and then they will disappear on the next server wipe. Okay, now if you come up with a better way of doing this and have got some better ideas, please put them in the comment section down below, because I am aware that this is not an ideal solution, but it's the only one that I could kind of think of and come up with to get servers working for this weekend. Okay, so put your questions and comments down below. If you found the video useful, hit like. If you want to see more of the same, press subscribe, and I will of course see you again soon.